So first item is 27824. Apologies for absence, please, Karen. Thank you. So 27924, the minutes of the planning committee. To confirm the minutes of the planning committee held on 13th of August, as we don't have a full council meeting in August, these have not gone through full council, but obviously is it your wish that they are a true record and can be signed as a true record? Thank you. Okay, on to 28024, declarations of any disclosable pecuniary interests. None shown, so you've still got your chance to, if anything comes up. So 28424, jumped a bit there. 28124, planning applications. I think Mark's going to lead us through. So A661 Sainsbury's.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So, so site you're all familiar with the large Sainsbury's on London Road, and it's the erection of a new plant deck and replacement of existing refrigeration plant, and installing 6 air source heat pumps. The vote will come up in a minute. Just at this stage to note, basically they note that it is 500 metres away from the nearest living accommodation. Just obviously consideration when it comes to potential noise disturbance. Okay, can we have a look at the first plan is mainly cabling. Can we have a look at the second one with the yellow ovals on? If you're wondering what AHU is, it's a air handling unit, and ASHV air source heat pump. So you can see with the two, not actually very clearly on that, I'm afraid, but hopefully you can see the two yellow ovals there mark the position of those new facilities being put in place. And then, if we have a look at the elevations, you can see the plant deck on top of the building there. That's what can be seen of it from the different sides of it. And the third one down there, which is, that there at the top now, that shows where the air source heat pumps are going to be installed on the southwest side, base of the woodland. And, back to you, Chair.
Thank you. Comments or a supporter? No dissenting voices, so we'll take that support then. Thank you.
Yep.
Next one. 124B, a discharge of conditions on Monkhill Lane.
Yes, and one site that's produced quite a lot of debate and comments beforehand. This is purely a discharge of conditions in this case. As it says there, they had a report showing that some of the sites has some limited contamination, therefore not suitable for its proposed end use. So they've got to replace 150 mils of topsoil on the soft landscape areas because of basically evidence that there's likely to have been asphalt in there. It doesn't seem to be anything of extreme hazardous nature, but it would therefore be classed as hazardous waste, and therefore the recommendation is to replace that.
I think it's just a note, really. Nothing for us to comment on that one, I don't think. On to C then. Ourselves, I presume it's just to note, really, but I'd like to take us
yeah, I mean, for form's sake, for the record, yes, the town councils will obviously know much more about this already, but the plan is to add a walk over bridge just to the east of Nuns Bridges there. On that particular crossing, and you can see on the plan there the location of the bridge proposed. And if we move on to the picture, the first picture, that the green line there showing where the bridge would be with the footpath leading to it. On the top of the next page, I believe we've got a sort of cross section of the bridge, and I had a little bit of fun kind of trying to merge photos of a quote similar bridge from the planning application with the actual place there to try and give you an idea what it will look like in situ. The historic buildings consultant has said no objections in broad terms, but doesn't really want it where it is. So they want it further east of its current position, and the may wish to note Historic England's guidance on that. When I looked at it on the 4th of September, there were already 25 supportive comments from the public and 2 from all councils.
Thank you. Obviously that moving it may cause a little issue with the tarmac coming up to. But as I say, as we are effectively the applicant, I don't think there's a lot we can say. Just note that it'll hopefully due take its process. Yeah. Thank you. Then on to D, electric vehicle charging bays.
Yes, so we're looking in this case back at London Road Retail Park, towards the back of the site, where KFC and Costa have gone in fairly recent times, and the proposal is to replace 20 existing car spaces with 12 electric vehicle charging bays, and there are sort of associated works which will come to in a second. If we could have a look at slightly further down at the aerial view, that shows it in situ. So you can see one of them is on an existing sort of tarmac asphalt area already, and one of them is partly on grassland. And that's what the next picture is basically illustrating. It's a sort of habitat map of the area. So you can see the red and white areas are basically already developed land, and particularly the greener area is sort of as a grassland areas. So there is a biodiversity net gain to be included in this planning application, part of which you can see below on the planting of the area. So yeah, we go on to the next one. You can see some proposed silver birch trees to be installed around the area to landscape it, and I believe we also have a rather charming night view of the facility. Just to
Any comments? Happy to support then? Yeah. Moving on to 28224 tree planning applications. It's interesting, we've got a little bit more information, thank you, Mark, if that's your doing, because obviously when we've had the trees in the past, we've questioned that, so.
Yeah, well, there's a sort of ongoing question of how much information you really want about tree applications, and in what level of detail you want to include. But for the moment, we've got as much as I can find for you. And if you feel it's too much in the future, then you can pay less attention to this. If you're happy for it to continue, then I dare say it can continue. So some of these, it should be noted, you can only note because they do seem to process through quite rapidly, and so often by the time we get to see them, they are sort of already approved by the technical expertise, basically the tree consultant. So with that in mind, number 170 being the first one. So we've got an oak tree on Oak Close, and this is not to remove the whole thing, but to reduce the crown over the property, the south-facing side of it, prune back 1 or 2 metres and remove some deadwood and other sort of drooping branches, etc. So can we have a look at the location first? There it is. And if we go down to the next one, you can actually see, I think we're looking at the area there, and as I said, it is number 16 Oak Close that's behind. And actually there is a picture which shows the individual tree in question there.
Happy to support? Moving on to the next one then.
Okay, 173. Sorry. 173. So already this is likely to go ahead. It has been approved by Brecon Council. It's a Swedish white beam, and it is basically T1 in the picture below there. It is 26 Raymond Street and it is sort of right in the front garden, or sorry, right in the back garden, I beg your pardon. And if you have a look on the next page, you can see the actual tree itself. So that is the tree, and as I said, Brecon have approved the removal.
It's noted then, I don't think we can do.
Not on this specific tree, because as you've said, it's already been authorised. But why are these coming to us if we have no opportunity to actually make any comments?
Well, as I said, that's the question that I sort of posed at the start of this. Do you actually want to be told as part of this committee if things are happening? Myself and Alan have been sort of discussing this. I've sort of looked at them all and I present them. If you feel it's not worth knowing about, then we can in future just not bother with these ones. It's a question really whether you want to be informed as a committee or not. If there's no point, if you can't make a sort of.
Couldn't we be informed but not have to discuss it? Just circulate something and say this is happening.
Well, it's in the same way when we've had decisions about we've been notified of what decisions have been made. But I think it is useful from a local councillor perspective to understand any things that are happening, but we're effectively not discussing because it has happened.
Sure, I appreciate that. But the people that should be on the committee that aren't because they're absent, they could have known about it beforehand, rather than we come here now and it's flashed up. And only waste. It takes 5 minutes to go through this, but everybody could know about it before we got here. And if anyone wanted to comment, they could.
Yeah.
So I'm fine either way. I just think I would rather have it in writing so I can look at it and say, this has happened, or going to happen. We don't have to have it flashed up.
Well, these are part of the pack which has been circulated.
I spent ages with Annie going through it, and then this is coming up and we're talking about it. It's already been approved. That's the thing that I'm a bit unsure about. Why are we not wasting time? It's nice being informed, but being informed and then discussing it to say we're being informed when we've been informed is in writing.
So you're saying we just want a list of stuff and we don't want any discussion on it?
If there's nothing we can do about it, then yes, why not?
Okay, but I don't think we've spent undue amount of time on that particular one, and I would hope that if there are issues that come about, and sometimes there is things such as flint walls that have been done because of damage from trees, and it just makes us more aware of some of the issues, and having that 2-minute discussion, I think, is useful to give us a bit more knowledge.
I accept that then, fine, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's helpful actually. And I hadn't realised that with the trees, it was likely that we weren't going to have the opportunity to comment anyway. So I feel like I would be more likely as they come through to pay attention rather than having a look in preparation for this meeting, looking in advance. Now that I know to do that, that's helpful.
So Alan, you get notified in the same way you do planning applications, the TPO stuff, or is that a last minute thing that we've put together?
No, the TPOs get notified. I get a weekly planning list. So all these could be on one weekly planning list. And the following week, I will then find out that they've actually made a decision on it. So not everything has been decided. I think there were about 9 or 10 tree applications, and about 7 of them had already been decided before we put together the agenda pack. So there might be 1 or 2 that the decisions have come through a little bit later on. But generally, we won't put them on if the decision has been made. And I think, like I said, I think there were about 8 or 9 where the decisions had been made.
Chris, you want to go in?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with this to carry on as it is. I mean, this is the first time we've had this kind of info all the way. And I would love the more information I get, the better I can respond when residents ask me a question. I'm quite happy.
Can I make a suggestion that you've put 3 items on the agenda as a separate item to planning items in this case. Did you want to potentially have undecided 3 items as one agenda item, and decided 3 items as another? Just so you know which is which.
Karen?
will focus. I think in order to be expedited, we will also need to have decisions that have been taken. That we can be in the environment, as I said. Those ones you can just be notified, like you mentioned it quite well, but we never want to, but the decisions are already made, there's no, so it's such a press. And once I've set up the site, we don't make a comment, or if we can make a comment, then never that as a separate item, because we still have an opportunity to, you know, comment or put an opinion. There's no point commenting on things that I said that you've done. If we can just be notified and even write, like, what's been said.
So maybe split that item then, what ones that have happened and then ones.
At the same time, we just focus on one, so we can still have some opinion about today. I agree with Chris. It's always good to have a lot of information in these decisions are taken, because ultimately people tend to approach the town councillors when they really something to say. If we are aware of it, we can announce it to discussion. Thank you.
Okay, move on then to,
Yeah, next one is 164 10 Coltswood Way, and I'm afraid this is already decided. It's an application by Preston Council. Semi-mature oak, the location of T1 and the plan there. Growth bias because basically it's trying to grow out from under other trees in the woodland, and they have approved the actions of pruning back that basically on that side. Shall I just continue then? Yeah. 0077 Springhouse Walk. Again, this is a note, but I think this might be of interest because it did create quite a lot of discussion last time that the application for the cutting back of quite a lot of alders along the river has been withdrawn. So that might be of interest. Yeah, I thought that would be of interest, but as I said, because it's a note only, I'll carry on.
so, why has it been withdrawn? Do we know?
It doesn't say, as far as I could see. It just simply sort of says that. Whether they did take the comments on board or other factors came into play, I couldn't possibly tell you.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Mark.
Interesting.
Yep.
176, this is undecided. You get to talk about this. So we are in the vicinity of the old priory, and basically the nearest address being Navigate, but let's go down to the plan on this one. This is to crown lift. People are familiar with that, basically removing the lower branches up to 4.5 metres above ground level. So the red circled tree there is what we're looking for. So just down a bit, thanks, Alan. So it's, if you note where the ruins of the priory are, it's near the bit that juts out, the top bit that juts out, and behind another one. So if we now look at the picture there, so this one, the one you're looking at, large tree to the right of the picture, is not the one in question, it's the one behind that. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to get any sort of, I've got my drone pilot's license, so I couldn't get in behind to see actually the tree in question, but that's where it is.
Thank you. Given that they're not removing the tree, I wouldn't have thought there's too much of an issue from our perspective. Hazel.
Yeah, I don't have an issue. Do they put why? Like what's wrong with it, or is it just they feel it needs some trim?
I've seen much detail on this one, actually. I can have a quick look again now to see if there is anything that's we can I can shed any light on that. It's likely to be a light issue. It is sort of fairly close to one of the properties there, so it is likely to be due to shading of the garden and or house. It's the most usual reason for lifting in these cases.
Okay.
But it's purely a lift rather than a trim.
Yeah, so 4.5 metres, which is quite high up, but it's basically taking off all the lower branches, crown lifting. So it's literally lifting in effect, the foliage level from down there to up there.
A bit more headroom underneath.
Yeah. I am going to have a quick look, but if you want to continue, you can just see if there's any more details at all. But as I said, I suspect in this case they probably don't need a sort of tree health reason as such. It's literally, if I remember right, this is quite bold, shall we say, ironically speaking, given what they want to do. Yeah, literally no details on the form. The only supporting document is the flood plan, which has gone, there we go. So, yeah, I'm afraid I'm not really able to shed any further light on why, but yeah.
We have it to support.
Moving on then to 180. So this is a line, Abbey House on Abbey Gate. So this one does give us some details of the reasons. Decay at the pollard point. So people understand by pollard, basically the tree has been allowed to grow up to that point and then chopped off. Historically, this is quite a frequently used sort of tree management technique. It's sort of like coppicing, if people know what that is, but higher up. So perhaps if we could go down, if we go down to the tree picture, you can see that there is two leaders in effect, two competing main stems. So the decay would be happening basically at the junction between those, and therefore potentially both of those could be affected and could eventually fall. So they've had a report recommending crown reduction, i.e. taking it, instead of lifting the crown, they're taking the top down. So basically, it's a way of not having to chop it right back to that old pollard point. If you take the weight off at the far end, because of the physics of the lever effect, the seesaw effect, if you take weight off the far end, it has quite a large effect on the load on the structure. So as a crown reduction to the places where it's been previously proved to. And that is an undecided as well.
Ready to support?
Thank you, Chair. 182, also undecided. We are on Green Lane, 1 Oak in this case. I actually say it doesn't have any obvious defects in this case, but there is a branch that has snapped off in the outer canopy, and therefore the action recommended, or they're requesting, is to reduce the crown again to suitable pruning points on the side of the property, and to clear the growth over the property border. If you have a look at the pictures there is, as you can see, it's tending towards the house, and there is those, as they show, those signs of damage.
Thank you. Happy to support that one? Yep. I'm sorry.
Can I ask just a quick question then? If permission to do something like that is granted, what processes are in place to stop the contractor just basically chopping the tree to, enthusiastically thinking nothing, basically?
I mean, it will be down to Bretton enforcement. If they felt that too far had been gone, it would be the same as if, a building was demolished or erected without planning permission. It would be up to the so, I mean, if you did see what you thought might be someone going beyond what they're allowed to do, it would be a matter of Bretton.
Right.
Okay. Still on the agenda. Got this one late. I think now. Sorry, 320. Yeah. Anything late?
No, I think we've just done the next. Those were the things.
Oh, those were the late ones. Those were the late three ones, right?
Yeah. Okay, so 28424, decisions of variance.
There are none.
There are none. So 28524, items referred to Great Thetford Partnership. Just to inform members, I did attend the Great Thetford Partnership this morning. Councillor Land wasn't there, so I'll just read feedback while I did it, because I won't be attending full council. It was just pertinent. There was a presentation by the County Council Education Department, and in light of the discussion we had when we had a presentation by Pigeon last time round at the planning, it was quite clear that the numbers in the schools was dictating when a school would be delivered. And obviously there is capacity in our schools, and generally across Norfolk and nationally, there is a dip in the birth rate, so that the number of pupils coming through in the next few years is not expected to come through with any great gusto. And with that in mind, it's quite obvious that county will probably be looking at that as a way of deferring any school provision. It was noted that the land transfer of that first school site has been delayed to 2026. That's purely the land transfer. We then talked about what timescales there were in terms of design, consultation, build, and it's quite clear anything, once a decision had been made to put a school in place, it would be at least 3 years before any school would be open. So in reality, if you've got people asking when's the first school going to happen, it's not going to happen within 3 years. It probably won't be within 5, because those birth rates are not coming through, and demographics are changing. And I thought that was quite useful to understand a little bit more, because I think Pigeon floundered somewhat when we were asking them questions at a meeting about the schools. The other 2 sites are on trigger points within the number of houses being built, so they'll get pushed further and further down the scale. But I thought I'd just inform you that that's what they did inform us, what we gleaned this morning. Alan was present, so if you've got any questions, I'm sure you can answer them. Okay.
Would you like to leave me anything for any of the further items?
No. Okay, thank you, Mark. Thank you. So we'll just move on, unless there's any further items to be referred. So we've got there won't be another meeting till November, so we've still got another bite at the cherry to get anything there. I'm looking to have on the agenda for the next one the transportation side, so I think get an idea from what A11 wise improvements are, or what money there may be for those, because again, to inform members who may not be aware, part of the Kingsfleet development did have some contributions towards enhancement of the A11 junctions on the bypass, and they were linked to the number of houses being built. But they weren't all going to pay for everything that needed to be enhanced there. So we glean a little bit more, I think, from that. And also we've been asked, or the Kilston representative asked for the cycling walking update. So hopefully we'll be able to inform you a little bit more about that post November. And the Pigeon rep is in the room. Well, hopefully I didn't say anything untoward, but did you have anything to add on that matter?
I aligned with what we discussed when we were last in the discussion in this chamber. So, in terms of the A11 matter, I think it's fair to say that National Highways are looking at an improved approach to how we deal with the Thetford section, and hopefully not too distant future we'll have a better sort of plan in that regard as well.
Thank you. Okay, so on to 28624. This is a response by Brecon Planning to our previous council comments. Again, this was really when we had the Sue presentation. There was an application to variances and rephasing. Hopefully, you've seen the response that Breckland have come back with. Bring that up, Alan.
Some comments in there.
So obviously our comments were then responded to by Breckland. As I said to Alan earlier, Breckland are the planning authority and can determine this without having further need to us. But they seem to be keen for us to ratify their response. But I'll just throw it open to the table if you've got any comments. No. So are you happy to, Alan, to respond to say we are content with their comments, or do you want us to make another point? David?
Is that pointless?
Well, I think there's a little will happen as a result of it. The application was to vary the phasing, and we heard some of the rationale behind that. I don't think it's going to change their request to do that.
Yeah.
So we have to go then back then, Alan, and say, we note your comments, have no further comments to make.
Yep. Note your comment is good. Yeah.
So 28724, progress on actions from previous meetings. Got anything up my sleeve that I should be aware of?
Would you like me to run this one? In terms of going back a few meetings ago, it was agreed that councils would be provided with Section 106 information. I spent a lot of time dealing with the Brecon planning, and eventually they sent us a document that was tabled at one of the GTP meetings many, many years ago. We have tabled that. I circulated that just before the August planning meeting. I'm in contact with the Brecon planning officer that's responsible for the SU, Chris Hobson, and I will be asking him to come and have a meeting and a presentation to the council so we can get a better understanding of what the Section 106 agreement is. So that's in progress. The other three really relate to what happened at the last meeting. We tried to organise a walk around the King Street estate, just to identify residents' planning issues. And I'm hoping to, at the end of this, my office's update is to see whether the dates that I circulated are acceptable. We've got to organise further presentations, and we suggested the 22nd of October, if that's okay with this committee. And the last thing I was asked to keep as a permanent item on the agenda until the boundary review was resolved was just to stay up, to keep an eye out on the Brecon District Council boundary review and the implications that that could have on the suit.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Alan, for that update. So sliding into the committee officers update and to get your ratification of the date then, 2/8/24.
In terms of walk around, we've identified either Tuesday the 19th of September or Tuesday the 1st of October. I'm not sure whether councillors have a preference for either of those dates.
I presume that would be during the day.
Late afternoon, early evening.
Okay. Any preferences?
Sorry, what were the dates?
Thursday the 19th of September or Tuesday the 1st of October.
With either one, that's fine.
I can only do the second one.
Second, 1st of October.
I think given you are the local rep, that's
Yeah.
you'll be there.
I still have to confirm with Pigeon whether they'd be available, but I just didn't want to just have a true throw. So if we could.
Excuse me? Oh, no, October, you said.
6th of October. Typically, there would have been a community and environmental services meeting, and all the meetings for October have been.
And when's the
cancelled.
second one?
Second one was Thursday, the 19th of September.
Thursday the 19th. Thursday the 19th of September, we had Stanleyforth Trust at 5 o'clock.
Okay. We're looking out for training, council's training, all sorts of things. Our calendars are quite complex. So the first, should we go for the 1st of October? I will speak to the Pigeon contact and see if we can do that. I'm just checking at the. I'll do it by email. So you have a chance.
Do check, because it says Thursday the 19th of September in my calendar, doesn't mean it's factual.
I think it is actual. Yeah. And I'm also going to be there. So.
I gathered that, yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll leave it with Alan to try and confirm that.
So I'll do email with Chair from Pigeon, because that's who I've been dealing with so far. And then the second one was to have a presentation from Pigeon on, we said that we'd like regular engagements, and we had identified the 22nd of October. Yeah. Brilliant.
Afternoon, 1st of October.
Afternoon of the 1st? Brilliant.
When we say afternoon, what do we mean? Because I'm not available till after 4.
We do it late afternoon, early evening.
That's good.
Cool, thank you.
It's quite dark in the evenings when it gets to October.
Or do we need streetlights?
There we go, that will highlight that, won't it? Yeah.
Right, that's it then. Thank you very much. I'm sorry.
Can I ask, sorry, can we have, it's probably the wrong time to ask it just while everyone's here. Can we have an update either via email or to the next committee of where we're at with the living bush shelter? I feel like we agreed on something a long time ago and I've heard nothing of it since. Just where we're up to, what's been done since we agreed at full council to go ahead with the living bush shelter.
My understanding was that.
No, you don't have to do it right now. Got
My
it.
understanding that was done at, was it full council?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I will check.
Thank you.
One of the things that we haven't done is had an action plan for full council. So we're introducing that right at the moment. And so we'll start picking up some of these things that possibly have fallen off the radar.
I'm sure an update I had a while ago was Nick was out getting quotes or looking at something, looking at how other similar areas have done their sort of thing. And that's just the last I've heard of it. So I was just wondering.
Based on the costs, you might have to go up to tender. So that's how significant, that's how expensive it is. And it's a whole license process that we have to enter.
No problem.
But I'll make sure to address that full council in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you very much then.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah.